What's going on?
Well, I'm here doing actually things have gotten busy, and I actually got a call yesterday for doing a trio gig with a singer that I work for
So this is your first one in like a year?
more than a year, really. Out here anyway, pop a little bit because they're opening up all the venues now. Even the Hollywood Bowl is going to open.
When?
Um, my wife told me this morning in about a month.
Wow.
Mhm.
I got to move out there.
But some of these venues, in order to open their doors and break even, they have to have quite a few people.
Yeah, that's what's going on with Broadway. I don't understand how they'll be able to open without maximum capacity.
Yeah, and so maybe they're doing it, and maybe they're making deals with either the state. Who knows what's going on? But here at the studio, things are popping pretty good. I have several projects that I've done this last year. People not so much in the beginning of the COVID thing, but towards several months ago, people come in with masks and they do their thing. And
Hmm.
the guy that does most of my engineering uh, plays the drums, Jimmy Branley, who's
Hmm.
a wonderful drummer. I don't know if you know who he is, but
You told me about
he
him.
but he also but he's like you. He's a multi-talented young man, and so he does the engineering and plays and works Pro Tools.
Where's the piano? Where is it?
The piano's in it's in the other room, and by the way, Ethan, you look great, man.
You
You
too,
look
man.
fantastic.
You
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 look like your dad.
I get that a lot.
You do,
But I
yeah.
wish I had the charm like him.
Yeah, he's a charmer, isn't he?
He's a really charming dude.
Oh man. Where are you? Are you still in New Jersey?
Yeah, I moved like a town away,
Uh-huh.
and we built the studio in October. So when you did at Capitol that arrangement
Hmm.
for like, what was it 50 pieces?
There's about 50 pieces.
How long does it take you to write and copy something that enormous?
Well, we did 15 tunes. Um, and it took me probably a month to do the arrangements and get it all done, and everything was copied. That's why I had hired another person, because what he also did was I'd wrote everything out, and then I'd give him the scores because he was doing everything in Finale printing. He
Yeah.
was also able to edit, like if there was a mistake, I need a sharp here, I need a
Yep.
natural there. Because when you have that many people sitting on a stage, you don't want somebody asking, "Hey, I got 4 bars missing."
So when you bought this house,
Mhm.
the TV show you were working on was Diagnosis Murder.
Yes.
When you had to write a piece for the show, did they
Uh-huh.
give you a scene that you had to write a vibe out of what you were seeing?
Well, what they did in those days, the way it worked, which was really cool, you'd get a video of the show.
Yeah.
But I would request a script as well.
Right.
And in those days, I had a program that they would give me the disc, the script on a floppy disk, and I'd put that in, and then the program would show me would show me the timings. Well, any kind of a scene, like a chase scene, where a guy's going down, and all of a sudden at 2 minutes in, the car hits a wall, and you want to have a hit.
Yeah.
Um, then you work out your beats, because usually in film writing, slower tempos work because they give you room, even if you're writing in 16th notes. But when it comes out, it sounds, it sounds like, that kind of stuff.
Right. Was Diagnosis Murder the job that was the decision maker to move to the West Coast?
No, it was not. At the end, right before I moved to California, I had been thinking about moving to California for a long time because at that particular time I was working for Spence Michelin. We were doing jingles, and
Yep.
and also it's really interesting. Is sometimes it seems like when you're the busiest, that's when all the work comes. You know what I mean? Like when you're not busy, you can't get arrested, but when you're really busy, all
You're
of a
really
sudden
busy.
you're
Yeah.
really busy. So I was really busy. I mean, I was doing record projects on the side and gigs and blah blah blah, and then I had this job writing commercials, and so in those days commercials were usually 30 seconds or a minute. And so in a 30-second commercial, um, you might have like a second and a half of music before something starts. So, and I wanted to be able to write music. I mean, I've always wanted to compose music for film, even when I was a little kid. But I wanted the opportunity to write longer pieces of music.
Right.
One morning I was waking up, something just said, it's time to go to California.
Mm.
This is God's truth. Something like this voice just spoke to me.
Right.
After a while, I went back to New York City because I wasn't quite sure what was going on in my life. So I went back to New York City, and in the interim, I got a movie, and then after that, I decided to move back to California, which I did, which was in 1986.
Was your first movie a big undertaking? I assume it was like at least an hour and a half, 2 hour.
Well, it was and it wasn't. I mean, I was so used to, I've never had a problem with writing in time frames, meaning, if you said to me, listen, Lou, I just got a gig and we need 6 pieces of music and it has to be done by 3 o'clock. So we get it done. I'm so used to that.
How did you wind up getting credited as an actor on a film? Were you playing yourself or uh, a character of a separate name?
Myself. I mean, like I did a scene with Mimi Rogers. Um, I did My Blue Heaven.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I did a scene with John Candy when he was alive.
Right.
I did a scene. I mean, in those days, we were working on the biggest films you could think of.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
Do you remember any specific project in your career that was most musically fulfilling?
I mean, for me, the most longest running thing I did on a continuous basis was the television show. The thing that was cool about that was, when I was a young guy, like early on in my musical career, everything was based around playing. And so I would be playing, 6, 7 nights a week, 4 hours. And I mean, I was playing, 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 playing. And you know how that goes. Even sometimes, let's say, if you're playing on a continuous basis and you're so tired, but you got to go do the gig and you get up on stage and it's like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And all of a sudden something kicks in, you do what you got to do. So I wanted to be able to be in that situation in a writing capacity. And it happened. I mean, when I was doing Diagnosis Murder, I was doing 17 minutes of music a week,
Right.
writing it,
Yeah.
producing it.
Recording it.
Right. So, I mean, that was my life. I was working 12, 16 hours a day. I'm
Yeah.
not kidding. But I was loving every minute of it because, you get in that zone where my hands would fall on the keys and something like would just come out. And that's it, that's cute, done, next,
Yeah.
because I would just write, and I still do this today. I write the first thing that comes into my head.
Which it should be instinct. Do you think the music business has changed? But your field is a little bit more specific. But do you think that it's changed, that it's a little less fulfilling sometimes?
Yes, things have changed a lot in many reasons. First of all, the style of music has changed a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, like on a movie like The Bourne, so let's say you have an 8 minute chase scene.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can turn on a loop for 8 minutes that plays in the background. Boom, 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 boom. Everyone's,
Right.
and I'm done.
There's also like maybe budgets have changed, and especially now with the virtual instruments, you
Right.
don't need a cello player.
No, you don't.
It's tough.
Right. It's very tough. A lot of times, like even on Diagnosis, when I first started in Diagnosis, I had a 40-piece orchestra. So, but by the end, I was doing everything on the synths, and I had one woodwind player come in and play clarinet, alto saxophone,
Yeah.
flute, bass clarinet,
Yeah.
and that and piano. I'd play real piano. Well, that real instrument make it just changes the thing. The other problem, not problem, the other equation is: do people who are listening to it, do they know the difference? And moreover, do they care? No, because the
Uh,
bottom line, like you're saying, is money.
yeah. I appreciate you doing this with me. That's what I'm
Uh,
thinking.
Listen, you're one of my favorite people.
You too, man.